Okay, morning. It's a new day. It's a glorious day. You and I have the choice to make the day what it will be. Oh, I'm not saying things won't be happening. There's circumstances in life, but because of what we do, we make the difference in life that affects not only us, but those around us. And so, what effect and effect are you and I going to have in life? What effect and effect are you and I going to have in life? Well, we're going to consider little things that count much. Little things that count much. Jesus Christ, it is said, and I don't know anybody that's counted them, that there is like over 100 records of Jesus Christ being one-on-one with people, right? How about Zacchaeus, right? The wee little man climbs up in a tree. All those people, but who did Jesus Christ go spend the time with? One person. There must be great value in the life of one person, not just the many. When we go on these missions, we go on our missions, and it's easy to perceive that you're doing something valuable when you're ministering to 50, 100, hundreds of people. It's easy to perceive that you're doing something valuable. If you're running a great business or you're doing a presentation before many or many things, you could perceive your life has great value. But in the little things that count for much, Jesus Christ always showed that he would stop for the one. That's like a Heidi Baker statement, right? Stop for the one. One of the reasons their Iris Ministries is so great is because they will stop for the one. The people, I don't have time for the one person. Give me we'll start with 10. Give me 100. Give me 1,000, whatever. Then you'll have my interest. No, it's the ones that'll stop for the one that make the greatest difference in life. So let's consider this a little bit further. Will you or I stop for the one? In the last week, how many people did you tell about Jesus Christ? None? One a day? Hey, maybe like the vitamin, the old vitamin, one a day vitamin. It has everything you need. Well, maybe one a day, we should reach a person each day with the love of God and the truth of his word. Come here, girl. Come here. Good girl. Come. Good girl. Sit. Good girl. Sit. Good girl. So let's reach one and make a difference in their life and count for something that's really valuable. So in little things that count for much, we're considering faithfulness in little things. If in the world, hey, they want to know what you can do, when you can do it, how you can do it, how good you can do it, so many different things. But Jesus Christ said something really wonderful in Luke 17:10. He said, the one who is faithful in little is also faithful in much. And one who is dishonest in very little is also dishonest in very much. Now, that's a great truth and principle, an incredible truth and principle. What? That the value of something little has value in something great. So if we will take care of that which we should take care of, that which is in front of us, Jesus was Zacchaeus, Jesus with Martha, Jesus with the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman at the well, that one woman, he could have thought, she doesn't count for anything. That woman, she has no value. But you know what? He valued her. And what is the result? Out of that city, he says, look, the fields are white, ready for harvest, right? Out of that one came many. And that's why one is so valued, because it's the number one, it's the individual that can bring great increase. So faithful in little, faithful in much. In Matthew 14, 25 through 29, there's the record of a man goes on a journey, a parable, and that he gives away, teach one according to their ability. And one he gives 5 talents, and then another he gives 2 talents, and another 1. And so what happens? When he leaves and comes back, he tells them, the one with 5, who has gained 5 more, hey, you did good because you took what you had and you got increase. With the one that had 2, similar account. He said, you've doubled it. So enter into the joy of your master, because the one that had 2 talents doubled that. And because then he says this verse, you have been faithful in over little, I will set you over much. Enter the joy of your master. Then we know the one with 1 basically goes and hides it, right? I think buries it in some of them, but hides it, or put the talent in the ground. I didn't want to lose what little I had. Look, there's risk in life. Faith, believing, really involves risk. If we're going to have increase, you're going to have to step out and risk. And I was trying to think of somebody, there was an account recently someone did, or it happened, and this just spoke so much to me, that this person was willing to step out into something that looked impossible for increase, that God's hand would be in it. And I can tell you, it's good. It came out good, and it is coming out good. So he says to everyone who's receiving in this record, I'm reading in verse 29 of Matthew 14, for everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Even what he has will be taken away. It isn't that you started out with a lot. In fact, we all start out in life the same, wah, wah, little crying baby, right? But what we have, what do we do with it? I've known people, and you've known people, that all they want is a handout. Just take care of me, feed me, house me, whatever. And there's others that have started out with so little, and yet brought great benefit and increase, not only to themselves and others, because they start with 1. And really that 1 starts with you and I, and then others. Now there's another record in Luke 19 that's similar, Luke 19, 11 through 26, where Jesus speaks another parable, and he talks about a nobleman going into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom and then return. Now, he just didn't leave whatever was behind in this parable for naught. Just let it go, and it's not important. Your life is valuable. Your life is important. You may think your life counts for little, but when you think of the increase of 1, it counts for much. So when he returns, he had given money to them, and the one that had 10 minas, it was a weight back then, this that was given, but money, it had a value. He doubled it. So what's he get? He gets not only the authority over 10 cities, right? He gets authority over 10 cities, and because of his faithfulness. And the one with 5 minas, he said to him, so what do you got? And he's been faithful, so he gets responsibility for 5 cities. They had a small amount, but it yielded a great increase. There's no greater increase than in the increase that comes with our loving God and Father. And God is not cheap. He doesn't hold back and he doesn't hold out. If we would be faithful in the little things, let's talk about little things. How about prayer? Just simplicity of prayer. Do you think it's valuable, important? I think we should be praying throughout the day. Not just if we take set time aside, whether morning, evening, or sometime, or a couple of times a day, but throughout the day, we're thanking God, our Father, for his goodness and his love and all he's done. But what happens? So you've got the 10 and the 5, and they were just given a weight of something of value, but it turns into the benefit if you're in charge, you're a manager of these cities. And of course, what happens with the one, he says, Lord, here's your mina. I didn't lose it. It didn't waste away. In this version, it says, I kept it away in a handkerchief. I just protected it. And he said, oh, because I was afraid of you. You're a severe man. He's talking to his master in the parable. And he says, you take what you did not deposit and reap what you did not sow. Now the master says to him, I will condemn you and your own words, you wicked servant. You knew I was a severe man, taking what I did not deposit and reaping what I did not sow. Now Jesus Christ doesn't have that attitude, but he's using this parable, right? And I taking what I did not deposit, in other words, something I did with another brought increase. Okay? God wants to bring increase for you and I, and that's why little things count greatly, count much. Faithful in little, faithful in much. So they took the mina from him, like the talent from the first one, and he gave it to the one who had 10. To the one who has, more will be given, but the one who has not, even that will be taken away. In business, I've watched people, and you have seen it too. There are people that can take a little and turn to much. The person that sells maybe roses on the corner, you've seen that? Or the person selling brooms on the corner. There are those people that have actually done things like that, and it turned out to be something great. Wrigley's gum. Do you remember Wrigley's gum? Maybe it's still around. I don't know. I haven't looked. I'm not really a gum chewer. But Wrigley's gum, the guy had a business. And I don't remember what the business was. I just read this recently, though, but he had a business, Wrigley's something or other. But when a person would buy their product, they would give them a pack of gum to go with the product, just like a little bonus, a little benefit, a little extra, going the extra mile, right? Well, the people liked the gum so much that they kept asking, not for the product, they kept asking, do you have any more of that gum? And that turned out then to be Wrigley's gum, that gum company. Amazing how something extra the person did turned out to be the main thing when it was not the main thing. So, I want to read one of the records here, and this is in Matthew 18, 1 through 6. And at that time, his disciples came to Jesus saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? The one that has all the numbers, the one that has the largest church building, or whatever. Because in the world, people look at the numbers they have. They must be really special. Well, in God's eyes, every child of his is just as valuable and important. And what we do with what we've been giving is far more valuable than what people think. Well, look what they have. So anyways, Jesus said, who's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Yeah. Who's the big deal? Yeah. And calling to him a child, verse 2, he put him in the midst of them and saying, he puts one, right? True, I say unto you, turn and become like children. Start living life a little more like them. The simplicity of life. Don't be caught up in all the things of the world. Anyway, Turn and become like children, and you will enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever humbles himself like this child will be graced in the kingdom of heaven. He calls to him a child, it tells us. And what happens? And the child comes to him. Can we see something really simple and powerful? God is calling you and I, has called and is calling. And his call doesn't hang up. The world will hang up on you. God doesn't hang up. So don't hang up on his call. Remember Jeremiah 33:3? What is that? Call unto me, and I will answer you and show you great and mighty things you do not know. So he says, whoever humbles himself like this child is the grace of the kingdom of heaven. And all he did was call the child, and the child came. Do you see the simplicity of that? God calls, and we simply respond to his call. There's someone you see in need, and you know you're in a position to help that person in need. You're out in your day, a good word, I don't know, maybe some kind of gift, I don't know, some kind of help for them. I would find, and you respond to that. It's when you miss those promptings of the Spirit that you miss out on the eternal rewards. I remember I would see, don't do it so much anymore, especially when I was a little younger, I would see people with those signs, will work for food or money. And sometimes you ask people and say, hey, I got some work you can do. They'll be like, no, I'll make more on this corner. Well, enjoy it. But then there would be people, there was a guy named Dave, that for a couple of years, I would see him every so often. And I've done it with others, but I would say, come to work at my house for a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours. So I will pay you for your time. I will feed you a good meal, and I'll drop you off where you need to go. And I would do that because I wanted to help them, but I figured they need to be willing to do something to show that they really want to give up their lives and more. When I was in my last mission, the recent mission in Africa, there was a man, Daniel. And Daniel came to me and told me that I have learned, he's a young man, 20 or so, and he said, I've already learned in life that if I will give and help others attain and achieve, it will come back to me with increase. Now that's pretty cool. That's pretty wonderful. So this child, whoever receives one such child in my name receives me. Whoever causes one of these little ones in me to sin, it'd be better for him to have a millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the depth of the sea. Hey, it's only one. How important can this child be? Well, he that's faithful in little is faithful in much, and little things count for much. And so when you count on a little one, on one, and the blessing and the benefit you might bring to them, it's greatly valued, because when you reject the one, what happens? If you cause that child to go astray, it's better for you to have this millstone. Remember, those things could weigh like tons to grind the grain. It'd be better for the millstone, a great millstone, fastened around his neck, and he'd be drowned in the depth of the sea. So let's recognize the value of one. Little things count much. Faithful in little will be faithful in much. So let's start with the one thing we have in front of us, the one thing God has given us, or the one person that he places in front of us. And let's be faithful to minister, to serve, to bless in that. And then your increase will truly come, because you've been faithful in little things, the little things that count for much. So this is a week to do little things, and a preparatory for life for those things that'll count much for eternity. God bless you richly. Have an incredible week. I look forward to the testimonies that you will have to share.